Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Heart of Innovation. I'm Kim McNicholas. I'm the CEO of the Global PAD Association and co-host of the Heart of Innovation alongside my amazing colleague, interventional cardiologist, Dr. John Phillips. And it is my privilege to present this year's Breakthrough in CLI Wound Care Award through the Global PAD Impact Awards, CLI being critical limb ischemia or the advanced stage of PAD, which we talk about all the time here on the Heart of Innovation, which is poor circulation in mainly the legs. It's a disease more prevalent and deadlier than most cancers combined, right? Yet only about 70% of the US doesn't know anything about it, doesn't even know what PAD is. But needless to say, this is part of raising awareness. And that's really what we're doing here with the Global PAD Impact Awards, is not only raising awareness for PAD and its advanced stage CLI, but honoring those who are truly having an impact on PAD and its advanced stage CLI and creating the change that we all want to see, which is an improvement in the quality of life for patients across the globe. And this is the biggest breakthrough in CLI Wound Care Award through the Global PAD Impact Awards. Again, we talk all about, this PAD and its advanced stage. But there just are few solutions. Once a patient has a wound and it's not healing, well, that's a really big problem. Even if we restore blood flow to the wound, that wound is still there. And every day, patients are just battling these wounds that just simply refuse to heal, not because of neglect, but because, of course, the blood just can't get there. And even when the circulation is restored, that infection and inflammation can truly stand in the way of recovery. And that's where today's honoree is stepping in with a commitment to patient-centered science. Spectrum Antimicrobials developed a stabilized hypochlorous acid or formula that's helping wounds to close when hope was nearly lost. And the stories behind this innovation began with patients, people whose legs were on the line and whose healing became proof of what is possible when vascular and wound care truly do work together. So it is an honor to recognize Spectrum Antimicrobials, and we're going to be welcoming the CEO, Hoji Alimi, as well as his co-founder, Bill Watson. We're going to talk to them in just a moment. They're going to be here to accept the award. But oh my gosh, Dr. Phillips, wait till you hear about this remarkable formula that they've developed and the impact that it's had on even patients that you're very familiar with.
It's exciting to have a conversation with some smart folks that are trying to move the needle in an attempt to get some of these really difficult wounds to heal. I mean, I tell you guys this all the time. I'm a simple plumber, and we get the blood flow open, but really it takes a village to treat these patients. And
Yeah.
part of that, kind of that arm that helps get folks' wounds to heal is wound care, right? It's a big portion of it. And I don't do wound care. I'm always learning about it. And so learning about what, Spectrum does and the hypochlorous acid. I haven't said that term since chemistry, so I'm curious to learn a little bit more. And I think this is going to be a great show. And we're going to tie this in with Mama Joyce and Sister Jay. So let's jump in here, I think.
Let's get started with a moment of inspiration.
Dr. John Phillips, spectacular vascular moment of inspiration.
Yeah, so this is a real simple one, but I think it resonates on a number of levels. And the backstory, if you listen to the Save My Piggies with Mama Joyce and Sister J was very clear about what needed to be done for Mama Joyce. And so the quote that I'm using, I'm not exactly sure who said this, but I heard this first from Dave Ramsey of all folks. But he's quoted, or the quote is, "To be unclear is to be unkind." So Sister J was very clear about what Mama Joyce needed, and she was kind in being clear about that. So to be unclear is to be unkind.
Oh, I love that. I see Jay, you're nodding there.
Love
You
it.
definitely align with that, don't you?
Definitely. Yes. Awesome
And
quote.
we do have Jay here, who advocated for her mom, came to the Global PAD Association when her mom's leg was on the line, didn't have enough blood flow to heal wounds, had wounds up and down her legs, literally 14 wounds, I think, altogether between the two legs, actually, but 2 failed bypasses with cuts. Just, I mean, if you saw the pictures, Dr. John, it looked like her mom's leg was just filleted in 2 major spots. Almost, it looked like a cooked lobster tail. It was serious. It was really bad, right, Jay?
Yes, it was horrible. It was like the depth of the one on her calf, you can almost stick your fist in it. It was so deep and large. So yeah, it's horrible.
So once we got the blood flow restored, right? The next part was the journey was far from over. You had to get these wounds healed. And cardiothoracic surgeon, Dr. David Alley, who was a PI, the principal investigator on a study for the hypochlorous acid product that Spectrum Antimicrobials. We're going to get into don't worry, we're going to get into the basics of it and tell you exactly what it is in a moment. But
is there going to be a test on this, Kim? Are we getting tested on it? Come on, let's be careful here.
Chemistry here. But you guys were able to actually be a part of the next study and get your hands on this product. So talk about that.
Yes. So after we left the hospital, we went to the wound care center in Opelousas, and we were able to, my mom actually had, we allowed my mom to start the hyperbaric chamber at that point. And we were introduced to the spray. The spray that Bill and Hoji's come up with has been phenomenal. We like the first application of the spray. The process was when my mom would come in, they would take her wound, take the wound back off of her wound, spray her down with the spray, put her in the hyperbaric chamber, bring her out of the chamber, spray her with the spray again, wipe her up, and then put the wound back on, and we'll go home. We did this for 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. First application of the spray, literally, it came out cherry red. Like literally, first application, first time. They allowed me to go back and watch them spray it down. They put her in the chamber. I would leave for 2 hours, come back, and I would watch them come back and do her wound vac application, put it back on. I was so amazed. Literally the first application, we saw it. By the end of the week, it started to shrink, and each day it improved. As a matter of fact, we started June, like the second day of June of 2025. By July, one of her wounds was completely closed. She had 3 wounds on that leg. And then each day, that first wound that I spoke about where I was able to put my fist in, we're probably now maybe 3 weeks from it being closed. It's like this spray has been just a miracle for us, and it's done wonders for my mom. But it's reduced her pain, it's reduced her swelling. You can literally see when spraying the spray on the wound, you can, like seconds later, I literally wipe biofilm off my mom's leg. So if any biofilm is forming from the next day or the last wound change, I would spray the spray on there, wait maybe even a minute, wipe it off, it's back cherry red and looking good. Like her wound bed looks so healthy. We know life without the spray, because we did have the other leg, and we had to go through different different issues with infections, getting in the hospital, having surgical debridements. I would say the first one that closed up, my mom did not have any debridement at all in wound care. It just closed up with the spray. The second wound, the second one that was really large, I don't recall any physical debridement with that one either. After we left the hospital, she had a surgical debridement in the hospital, but she's not had any debridement on that. It's just been the spray. And then she does have a wound at the bottom. She's had maybe 1 or 2 debridements at the bottom, but other than that, the spray has just been miraculous, a miracle. It's taking her pain away, taking her swelling away, and it's closing her wound.
Fantastic.
And as you can see, huge difference, right, Dr. John? I mean, this is just like miracle in a bottle. We're going to find out.
We need to figure out what this miracle
is. Exactly. Next, right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away.
How many procedures are you willing to go through? Is it worth going through that many, or would you rather just
That's funny. Was it worth it? Oh yeah, I have my leg, man. amputation should absolutely, positively, 100% never be a first-line treatment.
What an incredible operation, what an incredible lab you have here.
Without a doubt, we're underdiagnosing peripheral arterial disease. It has not gotten the attention that it should because it is a killing disease, it is a disabling disease, and most importantly, it's a disease that we now have great treatments for.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
They were going to amputate it, and I needed to consult with my family. Did I want it off here or here? You're just shocked. It's scary. I don't even know how to explain it. You're 42 years old.
We're waiting till people are at the end of the spectrum and almost beyond hope. There is good care available here. Closed minds are what we have to get rid of.
Welcome back, everybody. I just need to know, what is this spray, Sister J? What are we talking about here? What is this this mechanism that is helping heal those wounds for your mom? And Hoji, we're going to have you jump in here pretty quickly to kind of explain it to us on a third grade level here. Again, I'm a simple plumber, okay?
So it's a hypochlorous acid spray called Spec, and it's just been wonderful for my mom. It's just life-changing.
And we want to bring in Hoji, so you can tell Hoji exactly. I know that we talked before that you wanted to thank them for what they've done. They've really above and beyond between Hoji and his co-founder Bill Watson. They've really been with you every step of this journey since you've gone into the Opelousas wound care.
Yes. Definitely, we want to thank Hoji and Bill. We like to take everybody on as family, so they're family now as well.
Mm-hmm.
We thank you so much for what you did. This spray has been a miracle for my mom. It's done wonders for her, and we truly appreciate you guys for even us having even the access to have the spray. And then we just thank you for inventing something like this. My mom can tell you more how she felt with it, but from a daughter as a caregiver, I appreciate you guys.
And I truly appreciate both of you because she's a science lady. She remembers all those big names. I remember Spectrum, so I just called it Miracle in a Bottle. So that's my new name, Miracle in a Bottle. And it has truly, truly helped me. These one wound that was really big, like I said, it healed in less than a month. The other one's just about healed, and the big one, it's on its way too. And I know it's because of this spray. And when Jay has it, she just sprays it, and she just takes care of my wounds, and it's just remarkable. I could see from morning to evening an improvement with the spray.
But I think that one of the big things, the difference between the two different situations with the two different legs, I hear a lot from patients that those wounds are excruciating. And I'm hearing that in this particular experience with this spray, you didn't experience that pain that you did with the other.
Correct. That's really correct. Yeah. Huh. And I didn't experience it, but I still have pain, but not like it used to be. And with the spray, and once they clean it up real good, I think the pain subsides for a while. And then it probably comes back later on. But it has truly helped me. And it has truly made me feel so much better.
Previously, before the spray, wound changes, my mom would actually yell in pain. They would be that painful. And she would dread it, screaming like to the top of her lungs. And I would just have to just keep going. And she's like, oh, stop. But this spray, she does not do that at all.
So I have to, Hoji, welcome to the show. What is this? This miracle in the bottle here? I need to know. And I think we probably need to speak to, it's in a, where it, I guess, is with respect to FDA approval and use, because is it available to, customers? But most importantly, what is it and what's its purpose?
Oh my God. First of all, I want to thank you, all of you guys, for inviting both Bill and I to this show. And nothing warms my heart more than listening to patients talking about their experience with our product. This takes me back 30 years. I've been on this journey. I have had loved ones. They've been treated, including my mom, who was passing away at one point. They used it on her. Bill and I actually were in Mexico one time walking through a neonatal intensive care unit where the mom just got up and just hugged me and started crying. I don't speak Spanish, but she was telling me through a translator, thanking me for saving their child. So first of all, that's the primary reason why we are doing this. Having said that, second of all, hypochlorous acid, I don't want to get technical. It's really a magical molecule. It has, just to for everybody's common understanding, at different concentrations, it does different things. If you take aspirin for one person, may not do it or may do it. If you take several, it may alleviate the pain for others. So this is really a concentration dependent. I want to be very upfront at the concentration. Current is cleared by the FDA. It makes it exactly how it was described on the show. So safe and very effective for safety debridement of these type of wounds. I have had, again, loved ones who have had chronic wounds, and they're very, very painful. Physicians are doing their best. They open up the arteries, they block veins, arteries to get blood flowing there and so on. But what I've heard over the last 30 years is usually wound care, there's no standard of care. Meaning if you go to one hospital, they treat you differently. You go to another hospital, they treat you something else. It's unlike like cardiology. So it's a combination of having a physician who's willing to listen, willing to hear about something innovative, and making sure you take a step forward. You don't take 3 steps back, because in a lot of these procedures, they go into surgical debridement, they cut, and they're trying to come up with some safe tissue. On the other hand, you're cutting and cutting, you're not allowing the wound to heal. So this is really, we are very proud because HOCl, I've been working on this innovation for the last 30 years. It's right now is being manufactured by so many people out there. We're going to talk about this momentarily, but we really break through the science. This is a really safe product. I'm really glad to hear about the outcomes we are discussing today.
We are going to have more with Hoji Alimi coming up next, right here on the Heart of Innovation. We're going to hear more about this remarkable product. So don't go away, right here on KDOW in the Heart of Innovation. Stay with us.
Your type of condition is called critical limb ischemia. It's the most advanced form of PAD, or peripheral arterial disease.
Every 4 minutes, there is an amputation in this country due to PAD and diabetes. We also know that 85% of these amputations are preventable with early intervention.
It's a flip of the coin. Patient prognosis is tied to whether or not they are referred to a true expert in the management of peripheral arterial disease.
Do you know if your physician is an experienced CLI operator?
When you're in the hospital dealing with doctors and stuff, you figure they know what they're talking about.
The skill level varies doctor from doctor and hospital to hospital.
Patients with limb threat are in constant fear. The depression that someone experiences after they lose a limb is equivalent to those of losing their spouse of 40 years.
I was stuck in a wheelchair close to 2 years, and my husband had to quit work.
I didn't know what to do at this point because we had had nothing but infections and hospital stays and infections and hospital stays.
And they took one toe, another toe, and then it was another toe, and then half his foot before he was even diagnosed with PAD.
And all I heard was, "What are we doing here? Just cut it off." And I pulled the curtain back like, "Are you kidding me?
Do you really want to go through all that?"
That's crazy. That's insane.
The protocol is to send them to amputation. Always, always, always get multiple opinions.
We do have options. We need to listen more to our patients.
If you're going to chop off their leg anyway, why not just let someone else try?
This is the progression. First comes the wounds, and then comes an amputation. And I wasn't going to accept that.
So that's what it's like to try to save a leg.
Welcome back, everybody. Continuing a very innovative conversation about wound care, particularly as it pertains to what, at least in my opinion, these look like kind of venous wounds. So very difficult to heal. And so, Hoji, tell us a little bit about what you're trying to accomplish here with the alteration in the concentration of the hypochlorous acid, because it sounds like it's a pretty special molecule, but there was some instability with it that you guys were able to tweak through.
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, I was introduced to this molecule over a dinner in Tokyo with some very top level physicians back in late 90s. What caught my surprise is HOCl is, I would say, is almost as a metaphor, the stomach enzyme for our immune system to capture bacteria, viruses, and digest them and get rid of them. Obviously, as we age, we become diabetic, we are immune compromised, our bodies produce less and less of it. The ultimate goal for us in future is to provide this as concentrations enough that can actually help the body fight infections, whether it's in respiratory, in sinuses, is during surgeries, is in wounds. That's really the ultimate goal. HOCl is a weak acid, is carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. They bring it together in your immune system and becomes an explosive bomb that is so lethal that can get rid of any virus, including, for example, COVID. It can get rid of all antibiotic resistant strains of bacteria, which we are struggling in the industry to get rid of. But the problem has been a few things. The molecule is very unstable. And to stabilize it, and secondarily, can you make it strong enough to withstand environments that doesn't cause it to get neutralized and turn into water? For example, where there's a lot of pus, a lot of serum, a lot of blood, instantly HOCl turns into nothing, just water. It is not effective. So our step number one is, can we actually produce the very first formulations of this as a stepping stone into the market that will not get neutralized? It will retain its potency as your immune system has it to debride and clean wounds, which we are hearing from these patients that is working phenomenally. But we are taking it way beyond that. We are now making it so strong that we plan to file INDs to actually replace the use of ineffective antibiotics in treatment of not only topical infections like these patients, but also infections in the lung and so on. Go ahead.
So, Hoji,
you know,
well, sorry, Kim, just real quick, because I think it's important so I understand and our listeners understand it, because I just Googled hypochlorous acid, okay? And it took me to Amazon, and there's no less than, I'm looking at probably 30 sprays out there. So
wow.
what you're talking about is obviously something different, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Can you explain that to the audience in case someone's Googling? Bill, your hand
Yeah.
is up as well if you want to chime in.
So I was humbly the very first scientist. I stabilized this molecule almost close to 30 years ago. There are a few flaws with HOCl. One is, as I said, it's very unstable. And secondarily, it gets neutralized in presence of blood and serum, which then FDA will look at it and say, I will never approve this as a drug to treat infection. Secondarily, the bigger problem is you cannot patent air, you cannot patent water that naturally is occurring, you cannot patent hypochlorous acid. Therefore, my inventions of 30 years ago was great, but hundreds of thousands of companies now producing that inferior formulation that are selling as a disinfectant or for cosmeceutical purposes or wound care solutions. And this is the inferior generic product we're talking about. What we have today, we have broken through the barriers of science. We have composition of chemistry where we've been able to stabilize this in presence of other molecules. We have patents, it withstands serum, it withstands blood. Now, ultimately, we can engineer this. You can buy it off of Amazon. This is a real medication that you can eventually actually inject in a patient down the road and treat sepsis. We are far beyond what you will see on Amazon.
Good.
Okay, so on Amazon, we're basically talking about a glorified disinfectant for your hands.
No.
So instead of using,
No.
or it's not. So what is it that we're seeing on the shelves versus, because people are going to hear this and they're going to say, okay, that's great, but all I can afford and all I have access to is what's on Amazon. So what is that's on Amazon?
Can I take a shot at this one, Hoj?
Please.
Yeah, Kim, here's what the real issue is when all of those products hit blood, pus, mucus, tears, saliva, or soil, they're inert.
Right.
You might as well be washing your hands with swimming pool water. So the reality is it's a great idea. They use it as an approved product to moisturize, irrigate, and debride, but there is no oomph in this thing. And the bigger issue is that if you've had challenges like freezing conditions, it's inert. And so the thing that Hoji's done this time is we hired a bunch of guys that were, in a company we acquired. We developed over 1,200 unique chemical entities, and it turned out that there's 12 or 13 of them that are home run balls. And so the reality is we actually do have a hand sanitizer product. It's approved in the UK, and you'll appreciate this, Dr. Phillips. We've got the only label claim with broad spectrum, or actually with norovirus and C. diff sporicidal kill claims on the bottle. So this is the only kind of its kind in the
Amazing.
world.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Secondarily, I want to move into a new category. Is we had Gen 1 that we did back 20 years ago, and I funded the company. I basically put the financings together. We raised about $100 million, went public on the NASDAQ, and Hoji knocked the ball out of the park because we did a study on a bunch of diabetic ulcers back in those days on Gen 1 and found out we were 3 times better than Johnson & Johnson's lead drug Levaquin. But because we didn't have the composition of matter molecule patent, because we had this degradation problem in a bottle, and the fact that it wouldn't work in blood serum, that basically prevented it from living up to what we expected the potential to be. What we did this time is when Hoji and I got back together in 2016, we said, let's approach this just like it would in big pharma in the development of a small molecule. Let's get these science guys on the team. Let's fund them all. And Hoji and Mohammed oversaw that whole entire thing and created this next generation of technology. But what I want to talk about now is not just what we did, and now we have a product that's cleared, but let me talk about the future.
And the future is ahead right here on the Heart of Innovation. So stay with us on KDOW. Don't go away.
There are multiple cases that are sent to me that a person has a wound, for example. And a lot of times it's a mixed picture. What I mean by that is it's arterial and venous, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it'll get billed as just venous. This isn't an arterial ulcer. But the thing is, if you don't first of all, you got to take the angiogram. And let me tell you, stats in the United States, 1 out of 2 people don't even get an angiogram when they have an ulcer, right? Which is astounding. But first of all, you got to take a look. The second thing is, it may be really bad, right? The reflex is, if it's really bad, then maybe I can't do it. Maybe that's not the right answer. You got to try. Put a wire down there, use your skills, and see if you can cross the thing. Because there are many that with minimal, you don't need a lot of knowledge to cross these. You got to try.
Just got to try.
Yeah. So, and a lot of times these lesions, I mean, there was one just this past week that's what was billed to me. It was a long chronic total occlusion of a it was a posterior tibial artery. And literally I took a floppy tipped wire down there and it crossed. Right. And it's nothing special I did. It's the only thing that was different between me and the other people was that I tried. Right. I didn't say, listen, this is too bad. It can't be done. So, and that saying of hibernating vessel distally is true. There's typically vessel that's distal. You can't see it because it's not perfused. But once you get through it, the vessel is open distally. You can inject, and now you've got a target and you can open it up. If they've got an ulcer, do an angiogram, right? Number 1. Number 2 is, if it's something that's bad, try. I'm not saying if you try and you can't, then I get it. But then, as you have said, make sure that you contact someone else and just get a second opinion before someone cuts your leg off.
Kimberly provided us with an excellent tease, as did Bill. So Bill, tell us, what is the future here? And it is World Series time, so we're talking home runs. Out of the park, maybe, huh?
This is important, and I'm an old ex-baseball pitcher, so my job as a baseball pitcher was to make sure they're not hitting it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't play. No, I think the thing that we look at in the future is, because of these breakthrough chemistries, the whole entire industry is going to come to an end fairly quickly, because none of these things actually work the way that the hype is. And the FDA's got a problem with the hypochlorous acid industry anyway, because they're going to force everybody to do either drug studies or PMAs starting next year. Nobody else has a product that's going to survive that. And so where we think this is going to go is this category. We love the wound care market. We're going to prepare to do a new investigational new drug application. And that next generation product that we're going to put into that study is a sterile product. Now remember, any hypochlorous acid product that gets hit with anything that's above boiling is going to die. It also dies when it freezes. So this is going to be a sterile product. The second thing is that what we intend to prove in the course of the clinical studies is that we don't care what kind of microbe there is, that we intend to try to prove that we're actually dissolving these biofilms, so they literally wipe right off the wound bed, which is what we're doing, what we're doing to do today anyway, because this is a mechanical debrider. We are also going to investigate whether or not that we're seeing rapid vasodilative effects, so we actually more blood flow into the tissue, which is critically important, particularly diabetic patients. And we're going to be looking into things like there's been other published peer-reviewed studies on things like angiogenesis and those kinds of things. We'll investigate that. And then the last big ones, and this is the stuff that really matters. In this industry, and I'm so glad you guys are all so passionate about it, we've got 12.5 to 13 million patients in America that have chronic wounds. 65% don't heal at the end of 12 weeks. Those are failed wounds. We're spending $80 billion a year, according to CMS, on just the Medicare population. And there's another 90 billion that's being sent by things like cellulitis. So what we hope to be able to prove in the course of these studies is not only can we compress the time it takes to close a wound, but we hope to close wounds that won't heal any other way and dramatically cut the cost of care. Now, there's a sore thumb in the industry right now in the whole wound care space, which is tied to these artificial skin substitutes, the grafts. Whether they're amnion, chorion, or any of the other ones, it doesn't matter to me. We have seen the CMS has gone from $2 billion to $15 billion in 5 years, and the wounds aren't healing. So the point is, we think we're the missing piece of the link, because one thing we know for sure about all wound care, and you know this because you're the plumber. By the way, my best friend was Don Wukash, who put in the first Jarvik artificial heart. So he was a plumber too. And so basically the bottom line is that if we can come in here and help remove those bioburdens, improve the blood flow, go to work with you guys to help on the revascularization when necessary, and then keep those bioburdens compressed, the best analogy I can think for you is that it's a battlefield. We have two armies, one attacking, trying to kill the patient, and we have a second one that's coming in to try to regrow tissue. Guess which one grows fastest? It's the attacker from the bacteria and the viruses and whatever pathogens are. So our goal is to mechanically get rid of that stuff and keep it off the wound bed. And what happened even with our friend Joyce, Mama Joyce realized that when she started using this product several times a day, she was keeping the wounds closed, which led to the acceleration. And then the final thing is, riddle me this one. We're spending $170 billion a year in America alone on just two categories. Do you think there's a market for a product that might be able to make skin grafts work the way they're supposed to? Mm-hmm. That may eliminate the requirements of as many other, other procedural things like the chronic surgical debriding? That's a $20,000 bill. Hospital stays are expensive. We want to bring this way down to where this is manageable, so that the U.S. healthcare system can reallocate those resources areas that can be used.
It's my understanding too, Bill, that it's pretty lucrative to be putting skin grafts on people.
It's the worst case that I saw was in the paper yesterday. One doc over in Texas spent $10 million on a single patient. And the reality is, what everybody wants is they just want the wounds to close.
Understood.
And so once we understand what we have and we get through these drug studies and we make our deal with CMS, this is something that CMS is trying to dramatically reduce the exposure. But I think for us, that's our entry point. The other things that I think are even bigger will be as we transition to things like urogynecology, UTIs, yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, potentially even HPV. There's a whole laundry list that we move over. And then the big one that we'll be looking at in the not too distant future, and this is interesting because Mama Joyce, her infection was a multi-drug resistant Pseudomonas infection. Almost 100% of the cystic fibrosis and the bronchiectasis patients have that same infection, which doesn't mean much to anybody else unless you have it, because that endotoxin that's released from that microbe is what causes 90% of the mucus in the lung. So where we think we're going to move with there is we've got another proprietary product that'll work in that category and that we think will work. We're going to start doing something in an IND to get ready to go to treat cystic fibrosis patients, but then move that all the way to things such as COPD. So this is the biggest expenses. COPD globally, $6 trillion. So the reality is we look at all of these use indications knowing that it doesn't matter to us what the vertical market is, whether it's dentistry, orthopedic surgery, cancer cases where people are immune compromised, wound care. It doesn't matter to us. And it doesn't matter to us what the bug is, because the technology oxidizes proteins on the cell membrane wall. And that's not something we made up. That's something we learned 25 years ago. So the reality is even biofilms are made out of polysaccharides, lipids, nucleic acids, and proteins. So you have to think through the process. Well, if we're able to wipe something off theoretically, why would that happen? Because biofilms are sticky. And so you start thinking about these things, and where we want to go is basically we're spending in this country between respiratory and everything else upwards of $600-700 billion a year out of a $2 trillion budget. Maybe if we can cut that 30, 40, 50%, the whole system starts working better. And so
coming up next right here on the Heart of Innovation, we're going to find out, though, it all sounds great, but where are we now? How do you get your hands on it? If you have wounds that aren't healing, is it something that's available to you? We'll find out next right here on the Heart of Innovation on KDOW. Don't go away.
Do your legs hurt when you walk? Do you feel cramping or numbness that makes you stop and rest? This could be more than just getting older. It could be peripheral artery disease, also called PAD. PAD happens when arteries in your legs become clogged, limiting blood flow. And when blood can't flow, your health is at risk. PAD affects millions worldwide. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, or if you smoke, you're at higher risk. Symptoms may include leg pain when walking, slow healing wounds, or numbness in your feet. Some people don't notice symptoms at all until it's too late. PAD is serious. It can lead to amputations, heart attacks, and strokes. But the good news, PAD can be treated if caught early. This September, take a step for your health. Talk to your doctor. Ask about a simple PAD screening test. Protect your legs. Protect your life. Every step matters. Walk strong, live long. Get screened for PAD this September. For more information, visit padtest.org or call our LegSaver hotline, 1-833-PAD-LEGS.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Bill Watson just gave us a significantly detailed, which is fantastic, overview of his future for the company that they've kind of formed with respect to just treating infection and disease and wounds and things of that nature. So, Hoji, right now in 2025, so Mama Joyce had access to your spray to help debride her wound. Where does someone like Mama Joyce in Wisconsin get access to this spray?
So the product right now where we stand is cleared by the FDA. We have released the product to some physicians and hospitals. The formal launch of the product will be made available early January to all doctors and physicians. There will be an e-commerce site. In the meantime, if anybody wants any product, they can certainly contact us. If you don't mind, I can share our cell phone numbers they can call. Or
they can call the Global PAD Association and we can get you in contact.
Guys,
yeah.
Absolutely.
1-833-PAD-LEGS.
That's a better choice. So yeah, we are excited.
You don't want to your cell phone. That'd be curious.
We will be actually at one of the largest wound care conferences next year, April 8th through April 12th at SAWC in Charlotte, North Carolina. Not only will we be releasing the product into the market, but we will be having a major announcement about next generation products we're bringing into the market. And just keep in mind, this is a hypochlorous acid-based product, and hypochlorous acid at different concentration does different things. So our next generation products are more potent. As Bill said, they're designed as drug to go after, infections all over the body, and from pulmonary all the way down to other areas.
That's amazing. So how many locations do you think currently actually have your product?
Bill?
I would say there's somewhere between about 60 and 70, but by the end of the year, there'll be 300. And the reality is we're plugging into a lot of the hospital systems and a lot of the clinicians just to let them see for themselves that they're getting the responses they're looking for. And then a lot of things we're learning from this early activity is going to lead to us helping design the final protocols for what we want to do for our drug study for the second generation. And that'll be the global game changer.
So if patients were going to ask if their doctor had this product, what would they be asking their doctor for in terms of?
Can I give you, I'll give you a pathway that I think will be good. If they will call you guys and ask, for where we have people that are utilizing our products, we'll help you create that database that you have at your fingertip. The second thing is, if they have a doctor that hasn't been involved in our product lines and they still want to use their same doctor, have those doctors, call us, and we'll put them in front of our medical directors, and we'll get them educated on what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we're doing it. But our bottom line is this. I learned my most valuable lesson on this deal very early, because I had a friend of mine from high school that showed up at a class reunion in a walker, and she confessed to me her leg was coming off in 6 weeks. And so we got her our product. Once we had it cleared, we started treating her right away, and we canceled that amputation. And she called me Christmas Eve bawling her eyes out, and I thought she'd had her leg taken that day, and then she tells me, no, they canceled it. So when you laugh at me about, oh, you're a pretty passionate guy about this, there's no plan B here, guys. This is the plan B.
Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. Because everybody's plan A failed. Because I'll ask you the question. If you're an LSU football coach down in Louisiana and you're losing 2/3 of your game, you going to stay coach much longer? Probably not. Well, the problem is we're failing 63% of the time in the wound care space, and we want to take that to the other side to maybe we're getting 90%, 80% success rates instead of 60 or 70% failure rates.
Congratulations. We appreciate all you're doing through the Global PAD Association's Global PAD Impact Awards. Spectrum Antimicrobials is our CLI Breakthrough in Wound Care Award winner. Congratulations to Hoji, Alimi, and Bill Watson for all your work, and we appreciate all you're doing to save life and limb.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim.
Congratulations.
When your sugar runs high, it's more than a sign. Diabetes creeping in, it's a dangerous line. Pre-diabetes too, don't think it's too light. It can lead to PATS, so start the fight. Sugar's sweet, but the cost is real. High blood sugar makes your arteries feel clogged. Slow flow, it's a ticking time bomb. Catch it early, stay strong, and keep your legs on. Sugar's not so sweet when your leg is in pain. Not controlling sugar is where peripheral artery disease sets in. Got sugar? Get checked. Don't wait too late. Save your legs, save your life. Take control of your fate. Leg pain, cold feet, neuropathy too. These are signs diabetes caught